The following program is an opinion program. The opinions expressed by the hosts and guests of this program are not the opinions of the management, staff, and advertisers of this station. Please direct all criticism, concern, and adulation to the hosts of this program.
Welcome to Alabama Politics This Week. I am Dale Jackson. I'm a radio talk show host. You can hear my shows Monday through Friday from 5 until 9 a.m. in Huntsville on WVNN. And you can also hear me in Birmingham from 10 until noon on Talk 99.5. With me, as always, Mecca Music. She is the CEO of 256today.com. Smart news for smart people, but not smart enough to get the name right on my part. But that's okay. We've got a long show ahead of us. A great guest, Cameron Smith from ale.com. We'll talk with him about some stuff going on around the great state of Alabama. Something about a state cookie or something. I don't know. And then later on, I've got a parting shot about the ongoing Wandel Gavan saga and how stupid that is getting. So we'll talk about that. There's a lot happening, like I said. So let's go ahead and get to the 2-minute warning. $3.1 million people, Mecca, 3.1 million people watched the Trump town hall on CNN this week, which is like, I don't know, 5 times the demo that CNN is usually getting in the vaunted 25 to 54. They had like 700,000. So a good week for CNN, no question about it. A terrible town hall all the way around. I would give CNN an I because they couldn't even finish the thing. They cut it short by about 20 minutes. I give Trump a C, A for effort, F for execution. I give Joe Biden an A because he didn't get scathed at all, so really good for him. And I give University of Alabama's Caitlin Collins an F and rip up her degree. So that's where we are with that. Out of all of that, so that was the last part of Trump's week. Mecca, let's talk a little bit about that for a second. The CNN town hall, what a disaster.
I don't think so. I mean, I've heard from both sides of things like that, but it's the same. It was Trump being Trump, you know.
That's a disaster.
Right. Not if you love Trump. If you love Trump, then it was perfection. And if you don't like Trump, guess what? He gave you a lot to talk about and be mad about. So I see it as a W.
I
see it as a W.
I selfishly am concerned about our society as a whole.
That's silly. That's silly,
which
Dale.
is silly on my part. So Trump should have walked in and said, hey, I'm not going to talk about this, the election stuff. Let's talk about what actually matters. Put Byron Donalds up there. He's the one who made that point later on to all the CNN talking heads. Earlier in the week, Donald Trump found liable for defamation. There's a sexual assault in there as well. Now they get to add that. Twice impeached, once liable for defamation involving a sexual assault case. That's really bad. You saw a picture during the debate where he was recounting the story in a way he should have done to a jury, but he did there, and the women were sitting there stone-faced. I've seen that look a lot, and the men were laughing, ha, 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 and I just thought that was really bad for Trump as well.
Oh, I think that was damaging, but again, do his supporters care?
Man,
and I hate to keep coming back to that.
You're taking the nothing matters situation. And
I know, and I hate that because that's not me. You know how I am personally. I care about things very deeply. But in this case, it's just like, will it matter? But you heard Republicans coming out. There was one Republican who said, he's the shortest path to a loss we could get to. And then even Mo Brooks came out and said this makes him unelectable.
Yeah,
now, of course.
I wouldn't say even Mo Brooks on that one. I would say Mo Brooks said, because that's Mo Brooks has been pretty clear.
It's like a ping pong table game. He's like, he didn't support him, supported him, now back to not supporting him. So, you got to keep track of it.
Well, I think Mo's position is, I want to win, and this guy is a path to defeat. And that's what I think a lot of people are at this point in time. And
but enough people.
Trump's proved him wrong before. So
exactly.
I guess that's the nothing matters argument. All right, let's talk about Tommy Tuberville. This is a situation that I think is incredibly unfair for Tommy Tuberville. The idea that he is saying that he doesn't care if white supremacists are in the military is exactly how it is being framed. But if you go back one paragraph in the story from WBHM out of Birmingham, they're talking about recruitment and all these other things. If you go back about a month or so, Tommy Tuberville makes it very clear that this idea that the military is inundated with white supremacists is unfactual, unfounded, and unproven. That's what he's talking about here. And the reporter smugly says, what about the white supremacists in the military? And he said, well, I call them Americans. And what he's saying is, I'm talking about how they are using that term too broadly. Mm-hmm. And let's just stop doing that and call these people Americans. If you got problems, put them out. That's what they need to do. That's what Tuberville's saying. Why the smear? Why do we got to do this?
Okay, you know why the smear, and you know what I'm going to say. What do I always say when these things happen?
I give up.
We are Alabama. And fair or not, you cannot afford to have these kind of missteps. I saw the clarification from his office. I appreciated it. I believe that was his original intent. Still, you're not going to get a fair shake in the media. You have to be extra careful. Just use common sense.
I don't even think the clarification was necessary, because if you actually go one sentence, and that's why, and I hate to do this, but that's why when you cover this, when you see the story being covered, it's literally the line,
right?
And that's it. And they take it out of a giant context, removed from the situation.
I'm not saying they didn't do that, but would you still say that as Alabama senator? Well, that line in any context?
What I would have said is, we're overusing the term white supremacist. That's what I would have said.
Okay.
But again,
and you know what? I bet that would have been acceptable.
In the moment, though, this is my problem. Okay, look, and I get it. Everyone wants to be very literal and things like this. But because I talk for a living,
yes, you do.
I want people to take what I say as how I mean it, and I don't want them to assume. Look, it's like saying back in Nazi Germany, people really like Hitler. Dale said like Hitler. Dale said like Hitler. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. And
I understand your point, but it doesn't change reality. And the reality is, if you're representing Alabama and you're from Alabama, you just can't make these sort of missteps.
I'm very annoyed by the idea that then they go to all the Republicans and say, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? When you have this situation with Joe Biden that we're going to get into right now. Let's talk about the Joe Biden situation here for a second. What is the Joe Biden situation? You probably don't know, because it got very little coverage. Just 9 members of the Biden family making money from foreign entities while he was vice president and president of the United States. At the end, okay, let's move on to the next one. Nothing else. Oh, I forgot. A backbencher congressman from New York got arrested too. The most powerful man in the world having all that stuff going on? Pff, boring. Let's talk about the other thing. It was treated like a complete non-story. Now, James Comer from the Republican Oversight Committee, who came out with all this information about Joe Biden and the business dealings with his crackhead son and all these other things, that guy doing it on the day of the Trump debate was really, really stupid. I'll just point that out. It shouldn't have been done that way. The arrest of George Santos on the same day, I guarantee you that came from the Justice Department and was done in order to blunt all of this. Wonderfully done by the Justice Department in that regard. The FBI refused to give the documents that they asked for, where they're talking about a pay for play. So the story isn't over. But Mecca, holy cow. This story, I couldn't imagine. 9 Trump family members have been taking money from foreign entities.
Exactly.
And the media would be like, oh, God, how boring. What is this?
You have a valid point there, okay? But
I have 900 valid points there.
I would also point out, is it questionable? Yes. Does it deserve a look? Absolutely. But they've stopped short of calling it illegal. And there hasn't been a direct connection to Biden yet at this point, to President Biden. The other Bidens, yes.
What a world. I can't wait for this election where it's like, hey, look, I didn't break the law. I mean, I did all this stuff, but I didn't break the law. I mean, I hope that's cool. And yes, we lied and said my son didn't do anything even remotely unethical. And yes, he's the smartest person I know and the best person I know. And yes, there's all these other things going on. And all my kids and all these other people are making money off of it as well. But am I going to jail? Didn't think so. I guess I told you.
Well, separate from that, you've still got Hunter Biden's, a gun in Texas case where no decision has come down.
It's been going on for 5 years.
Yeah, and that's never come down. But I mean, it's still out there. It still exists, and that really hasn't gotten on much traction either.
5 years.
That's what I'm saying.
Look, I'm sure that if I lied on a gun form, they would just leave me alone for 4 to 5 years. Nothing to worry about.
You have so many fans out there.
I know. Alabama Democrats. Let's talk about them. For a quick second. They're having a little bit of a civil war, or is it a bloodbath? A civil war implies that maybe both sides are going back and forth and gaining some ground. I don't think that's what's happening here. Randy Kelly, the chairman of the Alabama Democratic Party, has completely laid waste to a bunch of different groups of Democrats. And it's very interesting. The National Democrats a couple years ago said, hey, look, if you want to play with us, you've got to create an LGBTQ caucus, you have to create a Native American caucus, you have to create a Young People's Caucus, a Disability People's Caucus, and all these other things. Well, Randy Kelly, the head of the Alabama Democrats, thought that diluted the African-American vote amongst Democrats. So now, given the opportunity and the power to wipe all those groups out, he did that. And he did it in the most beautiful way possible for Democrats, because it's super hypocritical. you need to have an ID to get in the door, and you got to pay $50. So voter ID and a poll tax, and he still won. Just absolutely brilliant.
Well, if you remove the people who are going to vote against you, then you absolutely win. That's how you win, if necessary.
Voter ID and a poll tax. Alabama Democrats.
Okay.
I mean, come on. It's just the absolute beauty of this coup is so great. I mean, it's a purge.
Okay, so unofficially, Alabama Democratic leaders, elected leaders, are just shocked. I mean, they are upset. They wish it wasn't like that. But the official message is going to be there's adjustments being made, and it's going to come back better and bigger and stronger and things like that. But it's not just us. It's everybody in Alabama is just watching this. Like, what is happening?
The Alabama political reporter's Josh Moon, just one of the smartest guys in Alabama politics. I mean, not stupid at all. And he wrote on there, the Alabama Democratic Party died today. And I'm like, is this tweet from 10 years ago? What are we talking about? Because it doesn't make any sense. They've been dead all along. So it's not a civil war or a bloodbath. It's like The Walking Dead. They just killed a bunch of zombies. That's all they did, is because they didn't matter anyway.
But I do not think, though, that this is just going to go away. I think there are going to be questions, and there is going to be some sort of change or something is coming from this. Don't you think?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I think this was a takeover, and I think they were pretty effective in doing so. That's what I think it was. We'll ask Cameron Smith about that and what Cameron Smith thinks maybe the cookie should be. I don't know. We'll talk about that. State cookie? Yeah, that's what we need. And we'll talk about that next with Cameron Smith from AL.com.
You work hard to earn little escapes because doing your best means being your best. So let us help you discover your best at Premier Dental Spa. With our unique blend of cosmetic, dental, and spa-like aesthetic services, you'll leave feeling relaxed, refreshed, and renewed. Make sure the best you is here to stay and book your appointment online today at premierdentalspa.com.
Hey folks, Dale Jackson here for my friends at University Kia. Now look, I love Kias. I've driven plenty of them. I used to have a Kia Sportage. When my son was born, my wife said, no, we got to get ourselves one of these big SUVs. The Telluride from University Kia is an absolutely amazing vehicle. You get it at a great price, but you get everything at University Kia at a great price. Learn more about them today. Head on over to universitykia.com. Find the perfect vehicle for you, new and pre-owned. They got it for you. universitykia.com.
Want fun, safe, intelligent fitness programming? Want to build muscular strength, cardiovascular endurance, drastically improved range of motion and mobility, and learn proper nutrition to fuel your life with energy and emotional health? Well, come find out why Iron Tribe Fitness is ranked one of the top 5 fitness programs in America. Come find out why personal training and intentionally working on your current movement patterns individually is not only important, it's just another core value that separates Iron Tribe Fitness from other fitness facilities.
To learn how to get your 2-week free pass, go to irontribefitness.com.
Other southern states like Mississippi have stopped suspending folks' driver's licenses because they can't afford to pay tickets. Not Alabama. Nearly 170,000 Alabama drivers have lost their licenses because they missed payments on tickets. Hard to take care of your kids if you can't get them where they need to be. Support the bipartisan driver's license bill and get these folks back on the road. Workers drive Alabama. When we're free to drive, we're free to work.
Here's a great way to save money on your prescription medications. If you take Viagra or Cialis, we can give you a way to pay as little as $2 a pill. Compare that to prices as high as $60 per tablet. Call now with your prescription and pay as little as $2 a pill. We offer 24/7 service and always free delivery and confidential packaging. Call Pharmacy Shop 24/7 to get generic versions of Viagra or Cialis for as little as $2 a pill, plus free discreet shipping.
Welcome back to Alabama Politics This Week. I am Dale Jackson, and with me, as always, Mecca Music. And our guest this week is Cameron Smith, a columnist from AL.com. We got a lot to talk to him about. We'll get into the cookie thing. Don't worry, Mecca. We'll start having that debate in just a second. But before we do, I want to ask Cameron about the CNN town hall this week. It came on the heels of the E. Jean Carroll defamation trial ruling. What kind of week was this for Donald Trump?
It's a week in which I'm over it. I mean, this is the drama and stuff surrounding him is a problem, but nothing's changed, right? Like the E. Jean Carroll stuff, folks who hate Trump say, well, clearly this is evidence that he is a sexual abuser and it affirms all their priors. And then people who like Trump say, well, look, this happened a long time ago. This was a sham. I still like Trump. And so I don't see much changing. In the CNN town hall, it was everything that we expected. It was, well, what do you think? Oh, well, that's not true. And then the back and forth. And so everybody affirmed their prior positions. And my point as a conservative Republican is the drama that follows this guy is a real concern because he lost the last go round. And I'm not seeing who else he brings to the table. And I think that's a real cause for concern, that it's the same old with Trump and with the media that criticizes him.
Cameron, I would just like to say that's basically what I just told Dale as well, but he's not yelling at you, so that's positive. So I do, though, I think we're hearing a lot from conservative Republicans who are speaking like you are about the drama. What are the options, though? I mean, is DeSantis still a viable candidate?
Yeah, I think that DeSantis is a viable candidate, but he had several unforced errors. And again, this is some of the hubris that we're seeing in Republican politics right now. DeSantis had a really good election night in Florida, and then he didn't do his homework. And meanwhile, the Trump political machine basically wrecked him. And then you have Nikki Haley acting as a sort of almost surrogate of the Trump campaign at this point, saying, pick me for VP, going after him hammer and tongs. And so what we're really seeing is DeSantis got damaged early because Trump saw him as the greatest threat. I don't think he's out of the race. I also don't think that the field is really established yet because some of the also-rans like Asa Hutchinson, they don't really matter. And I think in the coming months, we'll really see the field solidify. We expect DeSantis to get in the race and, then maybe, but the level of drama was high with Trump, and where DeSantis made the error is he introduced drama of his own with Disney and all that sort of thing. And I think the cohort of folks that Republicans need to win are folks that say, we just want a president that's drama-free, is not a million years old, and isn't corrupt or creepy. It's not a real tall order.
I don't know what Republicans you're talking to, Cameron, but all right, if those people are out there, I hope you're right about that. I really do. All right, let's move on back to the state of Alabama. I think Tommy Tuberville's getting smeared pretty hard across the board. I think it's wrong. I think his clarification makes complete sense. I understood what he was saying from the very beginning because I'm someone who follows politics, and I've heard him say these things before. Yaffe at YaleHammerNews.com laid all of this out very well, what Tuberville's been saying for quite some time and what he means by all of this. I mean, a quick Google search would stop from does Tuberville want white supremacists inside the military? But that's just not the media we get, right?
Yeah, I think that you're right on this one. My recent disagreement with Tuberville over some of his tactics on DOD abortion policy has been sort of my main criticism of him. Otherwise, I think he's been an excellent senator for Alabama. The problem is he also has foot and mouth disease, and he doesn't need to just sort of go off. He doesn't have to. He's popular. People like him at home. Mm-hmm. He doesn't need to go be a vocal senator. That has not worked out well for him. And I think what he's done with the military in terms of benefits and things like that has been very positive. People like that in Alabama. He's clearly staked himself as a pro-life senator. He's got what he needs to be very successful back home. I don't think that he's good on his feet in terms of a great speaker, and I think that's what you're finding out here. I don't think he wants white supremacists in the military, and I do think the media is being disingenuous here by suggesting that he does.
And what I think is also pretty interesting with Tuberville, I think they're coming for him because of his hold on those nominations. I think that's another thing. They're trying to weaken him there and pressure him into breaking those holds. And he wants white supremacists in the military. That might be why he's holding it. Maybe not enough white supremacists being promoted. Maybe that's the issue. I mean,
well, also though, Cameron, and I brought this up to Dale earlier, you're not going to get a fair shake in Alabama if you make those kind of missteps from the media. You're just not. So you can't afford to make those mistakes when you mention like kind of foot and mouth sort of syndrome.
Yeah, I don't think that one, it's an unforced error, and two, I don't think it's as complicated as Dale's making it. I think you're from Alabama. you're a Republican and we have an option to like hammer you with this on a loop. And so that's what's happening. And there's not an opportunity in this situation for Tuberville to explain what he really meant that is going to do anything but hurt him. And so it's a lose-lose for him. Again, I would focus on policy making, being consistent, and stay out of the limelight because it does not treat Tuberville well.
Now, I think if Tuberville says stuff like this and they start pounding him, his options are stop saying this stuff or fight back. Those are his options. You can't do nothing.
When he's on script, though, he's doing very well.
He's great at what he's done.
Right.
He has been a great senator, and he has delivered, and he is doing what I think is the right thing on a lot of issues. And it's very unfortunate to see that the way this is kind of playing out in this. It upsets me because you guys are right. The fact that it says Republican from Alabama makes it like super focused on this, but it also shows there's a little bit of dishonesty on the people who are criticizing him. Cameron, real quick here before Mecca gets into a serious question at the end, Alabama's considering a very special state cookie, the yellow hammer. I don't know what it is. Apparently some third grader came up with it. I have a better idea. But Mecca, could you describe the yellow hammer cookie? Can we be excited about this?
The yellow hammer cookie, and Cameron might know about it as well, but lawmakers will be considering, I think it's on a committee now, a yellow hammer cookie, and it takes into the historical heritage of Alabama, includes pecans, peanuts, and I think it sounds delicious.
Delicious.
Cameron, do you have a strong feeling about Alabama having a state cookie named the yellow hammer?
Don't they have better things to do with their time? I mean, there are a lot of cookies in Alabama, and they're good. Do we need to pick one and name it? I mean,
we do, and I'm going to pick it right here. This is the correct answer. Change the bill. I'm talking to the legislature right now. Go to the Piggly Wiggly, get the cookie from the deli. That's the state cookie.
Okay, listen.
That's the state cookie. The Piggly Wiggly.
You are getting off
cookie.
topic. Okay, listen. Students came up with this. It's fine. Let's do it. And also, I don't think we should just neglect any opportunity to take pride in our state, okay?
Why, so they can turn around and say the cookie's racist? I mean,
no, stop. But Cameron, I mean, this is one more thing to be like, hey, we got a cookie. I see no harm in it, but I knew you and Dell would hate on it.
All right.
Becca, respectfully, if you've seen me, I have much more expertise with cookies than you, and so I don't discriminate clearly as much as you do. So I can tell you I'm an equal opportunity consumer.
Okay.
All right, so there was a question about an adoption law. There's a new adoption law that's been passed by Alabama. Cameron, I know you're very close to this kind of stuff. What do you think about Alabama's new adoption law they're working on?
I haven't seen the specifics on the final. Anything that enables adoption to be faster, more efficient, and have the best interest of the child in mind, I'm for it. I think that what we've seen across the board is there are a lot of kids in foster care, and there are a lot of kids that ultimately are in need of homes and in what we call forever homes. And the more people that can engage and they're not, don't find the system daunting, the better. So, I'm happy to comment when I see the final of what we end up with, but anything in that space is helpful and well needed.
Well, and Cameron, just tell us briefly, if you don't mind, about some of the issues and challenges that people face. You called it daunting. So how the improvements that could be made and are needed in the state of Alabama?
Well, one of the big things that happens to anybody when you start encountering this world is there's a lot of disclosures and things like that. I mean, you are laid bare before the state to make sure that they know everything about you and it's super safe. I think a lot of families aren't upset about that, but just making that process more efficient and making sure that, hey, I'm filling out one form, I'm making this easy. The other thing is, termination of parental rights. When does that attach? What are the reasons for that? What do prospective adoptive parents have to be concerned about in terms of, hey, what happens if a birth parent changes their mind, that sort of thing? There's a lot of factors that go into this. What I would tell everybody is this is such an essential area and so important to our future that regardless of what the state does in terms of process and things like that, please engage, please learn, please find out, because these kids need a home, they need a future. And so you being a part of that is a big deal.
Cameron Smith, AL.com columnist.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for being here. Mecca's on her way out the door, so the show will get a lot better as I give you a parting shot right here on Alabama Politics this week. Hey folks, Dale Jackson here for my friends at University Kia. Now look, I love Kias. I've driven plenty of them. I used to have a Kia Sportage. When my son was born, my wife said, no, we got to get ourselves one of these big SUVs. The Telluride from University Kia is an absolutely amazing vehicle. You get it at a great price, but you get everything at University Kia at a great price. Learn more about them today. Head on over to universitykia.com. Find the perfect vehicle for you, new and pre-owned. They got it for you. universitykia.com.
You work hard to earn little escapes because doing your best means being your best. So let us help you discover your best at Premier Dental Spa. With our unique blend of cosmetic, dental, and spa-like aesthetic services, you'll leave feeling relaxed, refreshed, and renewed. Make sure the best you is here to stay and book your appointment online today at premierdentalspa.com.
2 years ago, Alabama made a smart decision to invest in infrastructure and fix our broken old roads and bridges. But we're still awfully stingy about who gets to drive on them. Nearly 170,000 Alabama drivers have lost their licenses because they missed payments on tickets. Support the bipartisan driver's license bill and get Alabamians back on the road. Workers drive Alabama. When we're free to drive, we're free to work.
Hey folks, Dale Jackson here, and this is my son, Grant. Now, I'm here to talk to you about Top Shelf Customized Cleaning. He's a handful, I'm a handful, and if I want to stay married, I need Top Shelf Customized Cleaning to come and take care of my house. They do an amazing job for me, and they'll do an amazing job for you. Cindy loves them. I love them. Grant loves them as well. Check them out on Facebook. Top Shelf Customized Cleaning. And don't forget, call them today, 256-417-9122. And when you talk to them, make sure you tell them Grant sent you.
Want fun, safe, intelligent fitness programming? Want to build muscular strength, cardiovascular endurance, drastically improve range of motion and mobility, and learn proper nutrition to fuel your life with energy and emotional health? Well, come find out why Iron Tribe Fitness is ranked one of the top 5 fitness programs in America. Come find out why personal training and intentionally working on your current movement patterns individually is not only important, it's just another core value that separates Iron Tribe Fitness from other fitness facilities.
To learn how to get your 2-week free pass, go to irontribefitness.com.
Welcome back to Alabama Politics This Week. I am Dale Jackson. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll jump into the parting shot here in just a moment. But first, let me remind you to head on over to yellowhammernews.com, not the Yellowhammer cookie thing, yellowhammernews.com. You can sign up for my 7 things, the 7 things you should be talking about today. Every single day, Monday through Friday, I put together a list of 7 things. You can get that delivered right to your email inbox every single morning. Go check that out, yellowhammernews.com. And right now, let's get to that parting shot. My parting shot this week is directed at Wandalyn Gavan. She is a state representative out of Birmingham. She is the one who stood on the floor of the legislature, quoting Jay-Z, referring to one of her colleagues as the one. Now, what that meant was let's just be real about it, she was calling her colleague the N-word. That's what she was doing. It was another black colleague, a Republican, and for some reason, she thinks this is completely okay. Now, there have been some pushback across the state of Alabama from different Republican parties and whatnot, saying she needs to be censured and all these other things. I think that's what she wants, and I think that's why she continues to try to get on the floor of the legislature to make more statements. Now, they've been wise to keep her off the floor of the legislature using their ability to do so, and because I have a feeling next time she gets on there, she will again try to embarrass the state and other people one more time. They should not allow her to do these things. If she cannot operate in a way like an adult and like everyone else does in the legislature without doing these things and causing these scenes, well, then maybe they do need to take that next step. But censuring her, just remember this, that's exactly what she wants. She watched what happened in Tennessee with the Tennessee Three. She watched what happened in Montana with Zoe Zephyr. She's watched all of this and said, what can I do to get in this situation? Well, it is quoting Jay-Z on the floor of the Alabama State House, referring to another member as the N-word. It is embarrassing. The people who have defended her are embarrassing themselves because she will do this again, and something will have to take place probably because of that. That will be unfortunate. It's exactly what she wants. She's striving for that national media attention. She has not got out of this yet, and she will keep trying to get it. Don't let her. Don't let her do it. Thank you very much for watching and listening to Alabama Politics This Week all over the great state of Alabama. We'll be back next week. Thanks for being here.